As fantasy football season approaches, is the 11th pick overall draft breakdown and mock I did. First pick, 11th overall, Puka Nacua fell to me. And on my board going into the season, Puka Nacua last season, he was injured for a little bit, but the games he played, he put up big numbers. In one game, he got thrown out early, but he's the number one wide receiver over there now for this Ram team, entering his third year in the NFL. Him and Stafford have obviously a good ESP, have a good rapport. And in this McVay offense, wide receivers and running backs like Kyron Williams the last few seasons have emerged and put up numbers. So especially to get Nacua at 11 is a great get. Then in the second round, Devon Achane. I'm big on Achane. He's a top 6 running back for me going into the season. Last year, big year, it was for him. He had a lot of receptions, got those numbers up. And in between the tackles, he did show that he could carry a big workload as Achane. And now Raheem Mostert, he's not there anymore for this Dolphin team. Jalen Wright, the backup running back. But Achane last season, it was a big year for him. He's a home run hitter. And I know he struggled in the games Tua wasn't there, but if Tua could stay upright and healthy this season, I think Achane, it could be sky's the limit, and he could be a top running back once again. Then third round went Breece Hall, and Breece Hall, one of the better value picks, in my opinion, in fantasy football this season, where I've been getting him a lot in these mocks. If you've been watching the other videos, third, fourth round range, and here at the back end of the third round to get Breece Hall, who last season was a top 5 pick in most fantasy drafts, even though I know the numbers weren't great, but he's still one of the better receiving backs in the league. I know Justin Fields is that quarterback where he's going to run the football a whole lot as well, being a dual threat as a QB as Fields. But like I said, Breece Hall's at a good value. And this Jet team, besides Garrett Wilson, don't have many other weapons where I think they're going to feed Breece Hall the rock a lot. And I know they got Braylon Allen as a backup. But like I said, Breece Hall, he's a great value pick this season, especially on the Yahoo platform. Then fourth round, Mike Evans, I've drafted him a lot. And he's another guy with great value on Yahoo. I know he's at the latter part of his prime, is Mike Evans, but 11 seasons in a row with 1,000 yards. Him and Baker Mayfield, they've had a good rapport since Mayfield signed on with the Tampa Bay Bucks a few seasons ago. And I know Mike Evans, we've seen some years, yes, he's had the 1,000 yards every year, below touchdown numbers at times, but I think him and Baker are locked in. And Chris Godwin, as of now, it's not looking good. He's going to be ready for week 1. So Mike Evans in the fourth round, good value. Fifth round at the back end, George Pickens. It's his first season in Dallas, contract year. Cowboys traded for him, obviously from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And arguably, this is the best quarterback he's played with, is George Pickens with Dak Prescott. And obviously, the best receiver in the receiving room with him as well, CeeDee Lamb. So a lot of one-on-one coverage. We know Pickens, he's an explosive wide receiver, makes acrobatic and crazy catches you don't expect most people to make. And with that one-on-one coverage, like I said, the deep ball threat, and in a contract year, I think Pickens can have a big season this year with this Cowboy team. It wouldn't be surprising to me if him and Lamb both get 1,000 yards receiving this season. Then sixth round, great value, getting Joe Burrow. He fell down in this draft. And when you got weapons like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown out of the backfield, the solid tight end room as well, Gesicki and Noah Fant, are going to put up points. And we saw Burrow and this team chase a lot of points and play in a lot of high-scoring games. And I think that's going to happen again where their defense obviously isn't going to be good, is the Cincinnati Bengal team. So to get Burrow in the sixth round is great value, where he arguably could be a top 3, top 4 quarterback this season. Then seventh round, Travis Hunter, great value in the back end of the seventh round. Hunter, explosive, obviously coming out of college. Last season, two-way player, got picked by this Jacksonville Jaguar team. And this Jaguar team as well, they're going to be trailing early and often. And Hunter's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage with obviously Brian Thomas on this roster as well, and had a breakout rookie season last year. So I think Travis Hunter, to have him as my fourth receiver and coming off the bench, very solid. Then Ramondre Stevenson, I took him in the 8th round. Maybe I reached a little bit for Stevenson. I know a lot of people think Henderson right away is going to come in, take all the work, and be a top running back for this Patriot team. But I just don't see it. I think Stevenson's going to get work. He got the extension last year, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if this is a 60-40 or 50-50 split in Stevenson's favor in the early going this season. So Stevenson to become my third running back and a depth piece off the bench, I like it. Deebo Samuel, then in the 9th round, Deebo as of now could be operating as the number 1 wide receiver for this Commander team if Terry McLaurin obviously holds out through training camp and through the season, or if Terry McLaurin gets traded. So we'll see what happens with his contract talks as the weeks go on, as the season approaches. But Deebo, new scenery, health has always been a concern for him, no doubt about it. But like I said, for him to be my 5th wide receiver and have good depth there. Can't go wrong with that. Then 10th round, I took Bashal Tootin. As of now, he's the third string on the depth chart, but I've said in other videos where I've taken Tootin that it wouldn't be surprising me if Tootin takes over that number one spot. Bigsby and ETN last season didn't show much. ETN, he was banged up on and off last year. Bigsby, he's not a three-down back, can't catch the football out of the backfield. I know physical in between the tackles and has some breakaway speed, but they drafted Tootin with some decent draft capital, and I think Tootin could go out there and be a nice sleeper for fantasy owners, and especially second half of the year, you really could see him take over that backfield. Then I went with another rookie in the 11th round, Matthew Golden. He was a first-round pick by this Green Bay Packer team. That receiving room, it definitely is crowded over there in Green Bay. Jaden Reed, obviously, Romeo Doubs, now Matthew Golden coming in. Obviously, Tavian Wicks in there as well, and Christian Watson was already banged up in training camp. So Golden, like I said, used the first-round pick on him. Great route runner. He can make the plays, and I think he's going to see the field early and often. So to get him as my 6th wide receiver. Then the 12th round, I totally punted tight end in this mock draft, but Darren Waller was there in the 12th round. I know last season he was retired for the 1 year. Darren Waller. Dolphins traded for him out of retirement from the New York Giants. Right now he's starting to get into football shape still. Not practicing in training camp is Darren Waller. But reports are coming out he's going to be ready for week 1 is Waller. So to take a flyer and take a shot, well, I'll give Waller maybe a couple weeks and we'll see if he'll be obviously productive, because they did trade John Smith, who had a big season last year for this Miami Dolphin team. And to get Darren Waller out of retirement and then to close it out, I went Jaden Blue in this one, Cowboy rookie running back. I know right now Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders are on the depth chart for this Dallas Cowboy team, but he's taking some first-team reps in training camp, is Jaden Blue. And to be honest, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, I think their best years are behind them, even though, believe it or not, Javonte's in his mid-20s. But Jaden Blue, he had some pop. I know he's a 5th-round pick for this Cowboy team, but he could catch the football out of the backfield, physical in between the tackles, and he definitely could be a lottery ticket type of draft pick in the back end of your fantasy draft. So the final roster, Joe Burrow, good value where I got him. Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, I think I'm pretty strong at my top 2 wide receiver position. And then A-Chain and Breece Hall, I really like my backfield a lot. To have those 2 running backs, especially in PPR leagues where they both catch the football a whole lot. And obviously they're workhorse running backs for their team, so I like that. Then Darren Waller, tight end, I might have took a chance here on Waller. But like I said, coming out of retirement, maybe he's refreshed. And this Dolphin team obviously had confidence in trading for him and trading away John Smith, like I said. Then George Pickens, contract year, first season with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, the best quarterback he's played with. I know 5th round could have been a little bit of a reach for Pickens, but he's due for a breakout, and with a lot of one-on-one coverage, I think he could have a good year. Then Travis Hunter, to have him as a backup coming off the bench, I think is great value. He's going to get a lot of looks, obviously. They used high draft capital with a 2nd pick overall was his Jacksonville Jaguar team to get Travis Hunter, where we know he plays both sides of the ball, but it looks like he's going to be a receiver in the early going. Then Ramondre Stevenson, him and Henderson, it's most likely a 50-50 split, but to get Stevenson as a backup running back, I'm fine with it. Deebo Samuel, we'll see what he does with his new team with the Commanders this year. I think the change of scenery is what Deebo needed, and not all the pressure on him, especially with Jaden Daniels, the franchise quarterback there. Terry McLaurin, I still think he's going to re-sign a nice deal. They'll come to an agreement and he'll be playing. But Deebo to be my 5th receiver is solid, I believe. Bashal Tootin, bit of a lottery ticket with a rookie. In the last 2-3 rounds, I always say you take a rookie and see what happens, with more upside than a veteran player where he's pretty much got a cap ceiling. So Tootin, I know there's Bigsby and Travis Etienne over there in the backfield he's got to compete with, but they did take him with a decent pick, was this Jaguar team. And they're trying to get more explosive on offense, which was a problem for them last season. And this team could be trailing early and often. So I think Tootin, he could see, especially in the second half of the year, a bigger role. Then Matthew Golden, I think, could step right into one of those starting spots. He was a 1st-round pick by this Green Bay Packer team, is Golden. Took a chance on him late in this draft. I know they got, obviously, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Tavian Wicks over there, and Christian Watson, but he possibly could be right away a starter in week 1. And then Jaden Blue to round it out with the Cowboys at the running back position, taking some first-team reps, even though I think they're going to ease him in, or it could be a committee over there in Dallas. So with the 11th pick, I think my team came out pretty solid. I think the strong points here from quarterback to my 2 wide receivers and running back by punting, tight end position. I didn't have to worry much, and I built a lot of depth with this roster. So that's 11th pick overall draft breakdown and strategy I had entering the 2025 fantasy football season.